A mile offshore I could see the lamp in your hand, beckoning me, said I need a safe place to land. A mile offshore, guess I'm home, my friend. Catch a full night of sleep again. I'm not going back out again, my friend. A mile offshore, it looks like 73. So little has changed, this one pub village I see. The windows glisten, the hills are green. I hear your voice calling out to me. From here we both could be 17 again. I hear your mother and father are gone. They say I'm not the type you can depend upon. Looking in from this line of sight, I can only say your mother and father were right. A mile offshore, the dolphins dance by my hull, circling me to the lilting song of the gulls. I know that's what I've been sailing toward. When I tie down, you can climb aboard for a little dance. It's the street we wore to ourselves. My long, clear history of selfish deeds, I come home with only apologies. There's no blame if you turn your back. To hell with that, you're out there waiting for me. Hi, Terry. A mile offshore, I could see the lamp in your hand, beckoning me, said I need a safe place to land. A mile offshore, guess I'm home, my friend. Catch a full night of sleep again. I'm not going back out again, my friend. A mile offshore, guess I'm home, my friend. Catch a full night of sleep again. I'm not going back out again, my friend. It's more than evening there, it's probably later at night. A mile offshore, I can see the lamp in your hand. Oh, 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 oh. A mile offshore, guess I found a soft place to land. Oh, 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 oh. A mile offshore, oh, oh, oh. A mile offshore, a mile offshore, oh, oh, oh. A mile offshore, I can see the lamp in your hands. I can hear myself still playing on the cell phone. I forget to turn the sound off of that. But welcome to my music room for my Nylons music live stream. Bring out my nylon string classical guitar. Long story. It's a long story for a lot of my instruments, but there's a long story for this one. And tonight, I'm not a finger picker. Tonight I'm going to do my best. I got more than an hour's worth of songs, actually, that I can finger pick. Dr. Charles says I should make every moment count. I'm gonna listen now, 'cause the clock is running down. Good sounds, the bark of my dog, the waves on the beach, a passionate song. Good sounds, the rhythm of her heart after too many days apart. Tires on the interstate was the soundtrack of my yesterday. now I'm home to stay. Good sounds, the local evening news, the posting of the scores, the mayor's opposing views. Good sounds, a coyote show duet, I still haven't seen one yet. Everything I'm finding here is a highlight of my high school years, all music to my ears. Dr. Trow says I should make every moment count. I'm gonna listen now, 'cause the clock is running down. Good sounds, a raucous New Year's Eve, another one slips by, too many, I believe. Good sounds, a desperate late night call, you remember me after all. I'll say this for posterity, I thought you were my enemy, come to with me. Dr. Trow says I should tie up the odd loose ends, I should have listened then, at least we're back to being friends. Good sounds, good sounds, good sounds, good sounds. I was always wanted a nylon-stringed guitar, and now I've got one. The rainbow is always a good sign. I was born in the eye of the storm, came to power when the curtain was torn. Saw today the moment my eyes were formed. The rainbow is always a good sign. Stood erect on my sensitive legs, went to pieces when the question was begged. I know better than to run out too far ahead. Everybody's looking at me, I can finally aspire to what I wanted to be. Now I'm watching the embrace of a warm spring breeze. Everybody's looking at me, I can finally aspire to what I wanted to be. Now I'm loving the embrace of a warm spring breeze. The rainbow is always a good sign. You can go back to the beginning of time to get a feel for what has hung in my mind, like a morning mist, a lingering kiss so fine. The rainbow is always a good sign. 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 That one goes back actually to Inauguration Day of the when Joe Biden was inaugurated back 2021 actually. And I was watching that, and they had a whole series of events they did during the course of the day. And one of them was a luncheon at I think the Senate office building. And part of the tradition is that the senators, even on the other side of the aisle, will give gifts, I guess. And one of the gifts was a painting of a landscape, a farm landscape, and there was a rainbow in the picture. And I think it was Kevin McCarthy, who at the time was the majority leader, and so he was opposition. And he remarked that the rainbow is always a good sign. I got a song out of that. This one, I was watching a documentary right about the same time about Stokely Carmichael, one of the civil rights leaders, the African American civil rights leaders during the '60s, and he really was not open to participation from people that weren't African American activists. And basically, one comment that he made was, you don't give us our freedom, just stop taking it away. And I got this song out of that. He changed his name to Kwame Ture and then moved to Africa. And so this is called A Long Lunch with Kwame Ture. Moved down to Jackson, early '68. Soldier in the SDS, the war was on my plate. Ate a long lunch with Stokely and with Marion. Just about to leave the States, I said we should join forces, advancing the cause. Stokely said, don't ask me, I'm not the leader that I was. I know the gesture is an earnest one. I'm not buying it because I don't envy your privilege. You say you're here to save the day. Well, you don't give a man his freedom. You just stop taking it away. No, you don't give a man his freedom. We just stop taking it away. He said, do what you came for. Put an end to the war. Save the wealthy white boys' lives in the service of the Lord. I don't need you as an ally, friend. It's my crucible, not yours. I don't envy your privilege. You say you're here to save the day. Well, you don't give a man his freedom. You just stop taking it away. No, you don't give a man his freedom. You just stop taking it away. So we boarded a flight to West Africa, where 30 years later he died. I tell the tale of a long lunch in Jackson, an offer abruptly declined. I don't envy your privilege. You say you're here to save the day. Well, you don't give a man his freedom. You just stop taking it away. No, you don't give a man his freedom. You just stop taking it away. No, you don't give a man his freedom. You just stop taking it away. You don't give a man his freedom. Just stop taking it away. A Long Lunch with Kwame Ture. The next one I wrote the day after the 2020 election, which seemed at the time to be one of the most divisive times in history, at least during my lifetime. Of course, that was minuscule compared to what we've got today. But after 155 years, can someone explain what transpired here? Was anything resolved, anything at all? I see the shadows in the park shooting back over the wall, and they're still counting the bodies at Bull Run. Can we finally confirm that the war is won? Will they ever get done? Counting the bodies at Bull Run. More than 500,000 dead. Still no one remembers what Lincoln said. He said, a house divided will not stand, yet things are out of hand. Smoke is pouring from the flames, burning all across the land. And they're still counting the bodies at Bull Run. Can we finally confirm that the war is won? Will they ever get done? Counting the bodies at Bull Run. You say you lost your brother in the war. You're ashamed to admit what he gave it for. Doesn't matter anymore. You're still counting the bodies at Bull Run. Can we finally confirm that the war is won? Will they ever get done? Counting the bodies at Bull Run? Will they ever get done counting the bodies at Bull Run? Will they ever get done counting the bodies at Bull Run? Counting the bodies at Bull Run. Again, wrote that the day after the 2020 election. That's 5 years ago. And then earlier that year, we had the pandemic. And it's one of the probably the first songs I wrote about the pandemic, during the pandemic, not realizing how long it was going to last. All I do is eat and sleep and clean. I'm in quarantine. Funny how these 2 weeks feel like 3. Watching films that I've already seen. I'm in quarantine. Hope tonight I have a different dream. All my life I've been dreaming of a time can sit back and watch the hours fly. This is not that dream. Never dreamed of 14 days in quarantine. I get up and stretch and walk the dog, but I don't leave the lot. Avoid whatever germs I haven't caught. Getting like that old boy in the news, that Howard Hughes. I admit I wash my hands a lot. Coming back, we'll be looking back on this to the days we'll probably never miss. These early days of spring, living through these 14 days in quarantine. Living through these 14 days in quarantine. Living through these 14 days in quarantine. All I do is eat and sleep and clean. All I do is eat and sleep and clean. All I do is eat and sleep and clean. My 14 days in quarantine. 14 days in quarantine. Early in the pandemic. And then later that year I wrote this song, not just about the pandemic, but all the things that went on in 2020. Once again, very tumultuous year, probably nothing like this year, but still a tumultuous year. I found mine in some very troubled times. There are things that follow you for decades down the line. What to tell the kids? There is so much to learn from having lived through this. Watching buildings burn, is it prudent to resist? Don't know what to tell the kids. Am I preparing them enough? Will they be damaged if I trouble them too much? Keep them out of touch, and is there really any rush to see the world the way it is? Well, I found mine in some very troubled times. There are things that follow you for decades down the line. What to tell the kids when they come asking you how things can go like this? You tell them it's too soon and please unclench those fists. Is that what you tell the kids? Oh, oh, please unclench those fists. Is that what you tell the kids? What to tell the kids? But everything that was going on, the election, the pandemic, the fighting in the streets, you know, just like we're getting now, actually now, and all of that back in 2020. Next one goes a lot further back than that. Back in 2007, I think, my sister contacted me from San Diego. She was on the board of the Linda Vista Multicultural Fair and Parade, and they were putting together their performance, their show. And my sister had told the board, well, my brother writes songs, maybe he could play at our show. you know, and their response was, well, you know, at the Linda Vista Multicultural Fair, we represent people from 34 countries. They speak 38 languages and everything. What particular culture does your brother represent? And she said, well, he could write a song. And they said, well, show us the song and we'll decide. And so she told me that, and that she wanted me to play there, and I asked her, I said, well, you know, I'm glad to do it, but, you know, my understanding is that Linda Vista Multicultural represents 34 countries and 38 languages. What do I represent? She says, well, just write a song. So I wrote this song, and then they liked it. They liked it, and they basically wanted me to come out and to play it at the Multicultural Fair and Parade, which I did. I played it at the opening ceremonies for the parade. And I have to say that it brought, when I get up there, it brought everybody in the amphitheater to their feet. The rest of the story is that they had just announced the winners as the junior high school essay contest, and so everybody got up on their feet to leave. But this is the song I wrote for that event back in 2007. The story behind this song: the Linda Vista neighborhood in San Diego is a place where the immigrants would first arrive when they came from places like Italy and Spain and Portugal. Because of its status as a port, Linda Vista and San Diego became the place that they were building the warships and the seaplanes when World War II broke out. I believe it was 1943, the city fathers got the idea that they would build houses for the workers because there was no place for them to stay. They were sleeping in shifts in the boarding houses and hotels. The goal that year was to build 3,000 houses. The motto, 3,000 houses in 300 days. That's the name of this song. The first sailed in from Lisbon and from Rome. Found a place in Bayside, brought their families home. Their brand new California home, heaven on earth. It lasted to the first year of the war. Sunny San Diego gets swept up in the storm. Goodbye, quiet California home. You're in the war. They put up 3,000 houses in 300 days, doors wide open to every fresh wave. On the mesa up north they call the beautiful place. They put up 3,000 houses in 300 days. Linda Vista, 300 days. Peacetime comes and Linda Vista stands, glowing like a beacon to 30 far-off lands. Come to your new California home, they all understand. They put up 3,000 houses in 300 days, doors wide open to every fresh wave. On the mesa up north they call the beautiful place. They put up 3,000 houses in 300 days. Linda Vista, 300 days. Is that you, Krista? 38 idiomas y toda la comida, el baile y la música, la cultura. Linda Vista. They put up 3,000 houses in 300 days, doors wide open to every fresh wave. On the mesa up north they call the beautiful place. They put up 3,000 houses in 300 days. Linda Vista, 300 days. Linda Vista, 300 days. Linda Vista, 300 days. 3,000 houses in 300 days. Song I wrote and played at the Linda Vista Multicultural Fair and Parade in San Diego, California back in 2007. At my sister's request. How you doing? Bella's laying in the sun. I just took her for a 2-mile run. Told her a story about a place called a beach. That would be a lot of fun. Bella's laying in the sun. Seemed that almost no time. I wish I gave her more time, like any of the 5 dogs in my life. I've had marriages that failed, several weekends in the Dexfield jail, that year without a call on the phone or a single piece of mail, just a wagging of a tail. If I was down and I had no fight, I could make it through the cold nights with any of the 5 dogs in my life. If I was one thing I'd be sure to make right, I'd be holding on with all of my might to any of the 5 dogs in my life. To any of the 5 dogs in my life. To any of the 5 dogs in my life. Any of the 5 dogs in my life. So what I'm doing today for my dinner hour live stream is I got this new nylon string guitar. This is actually a very rare guitar, and I pretty much stole it for what I paid for it. And I'm not much of a finger picker, but you know, this guitar like this plays itself. So here's a brand new one. This is going to be, you know, on this. I don't know if I have it memorized yet. This is probably the first time I played it for anybody. This is me, 10 pounds less, dark brown hair. What was I doing there? That was then, this is now, those sudden turns. Still have a lot to learn about why. There's a lot to learn about why. Sipping wine above the cove, one last hour. Begging her, don't drive home. She laughs it off. Your motive's bad. No, not tonight. It came from a dream I had about why. There's a lot to learn about why. Why couldn't drink with all my might. I swear you shouldn't drive home tonight. Could have put up a better fight. This is me, that's my life. I please fall short. The one time I get it right, last glass of wine above the cove. The more I want, I tell you, the less I know about why. There's a lot to know about why. So that's a brand new one. That's a brand new one. This one, I think last year or maybe the year before, my wife got called up for jury duty, and it was one of those two, you know, the one that got off on the killings at the place down in Southeast 14th Street. The social worker that they shot him, and they killed the other 2 other people, or the other guy, 2 people. Anyway, she was going to be on that panel, and then she didn't have to go. But anyway, I got a song out of that. My wife is off for jury duty today. She's got heard as a 10-week murder trial. Guess I got to learn to cook and to care for a 3-year-old child. If people would just stop killing each other, little BJ would have a full-time mother. I could go back to being more like a brother than a dad. For the last 3 weeks, she's been testy and moody since she got the call for jury duty. I doubt I'll be getting her back fully intact. My wife is off for jury duty today. She's gonna learn that it's not like CBS. It's never cut and dried. The ending is anyone's guess. By the end of the week, she'll be burned out looking at lab reports and gruesome photographs. She can't take it back to her family and friends. When it's done and over, she'll come home sobbing, I'm as much of a victim as that bullet-ridden body. I'm never watching Law and Order again. And I'll never wish for jury duty again. Oh, if people would just stop killing each other, little BJ would have a full-time mother. I could go back to being more like a brother than a dad. For the last 3 weeks, she's been testy and moody since she got the call for jury duty. I doubt I'll be getting her back fully intact. My wife is off for jury duty again. I just heard it's a 7-week murder trial. Guess I gotta learn to cook and to care for a 3-year-old child. To care for a 3-year-old child. Wife is off for jury duty today. A friend of mine is a wait person at a restaurant we eat at quite a bit, and is an artist too. Does photography and does jewelry making and everything, and has been on the social media a lot. It's had a difficult last few years, and we basically see that in her social media posts that things have not been going good a lot for her. And one day she had a social media post that basically said, I've been suffering so long with all these things that have happened to me. It's time to turn the heartache back into art. And I thought, well, that's a song. You choose to wallow now. I get it, 'cause you're working through lost ground, and you're just not inspired to address it for a while. This time it comes back slow. For some reason you're not ready to let it go. Till you wake up one morning and you finally made it home. There's no point in wrestling the forces that pulled you apart. The brush is laid out on the writing desk. It's time to turn the heartache into art. Some use for what you've learned at the outset when you're thinking you won't get burned. Then 10 minutes later and it takes that ugly turn. You weren't prepared at all. Rip off your glasses and admit it's your own damn fault. And if there's a lesson, it's just never get involved. There's no point in wrestling the forces that pulled you apart. The brush is laid out on the writing desk. It's time to turn the heartache into art. Turning something so dark into an object of beauty becomes your reason to tear. It's your prayer, it's your duty. You were reading for the part. There's no point in wrestling the forces that pulled you apart. The brush is laid out on the writing desk. It's time to turn the heartache into art. Time to turn the heartache into art. All of us people that try different forms of art, we know what that's about. This is about running into an old flame and their new person, and that person is giving you the eye, because you know stuff or you've done stuff or whatever, and it's kind of like, that was a long time ago. I know who you are. I know who you're with. I know what you want to know. I can only tell you this. What was she like in our day? Don't torture yourself, my friend. We were two different people then. We were just kids. The passion was really just what it is. What was she like in our day? I dove from the peaks to the ravines. I won't even tell you what that means. You'll find your own. Passion was really that long ago. There's a lot to say, but not to you. Doesn't matter what she put me through. I won't spoil it for other men. Don't torture yourself, my friend. There's a lot to say, but not to you. Doesn't matter what she put me through. I won't spoil it for other men. Don't torture yourself, my friend. What was she like in our day? The pleasure, was it worth the pain? Would I ever go back again? We'll never know. The passion was really that long ago. What was she like in our day? You know, running into the old flames and their new persons, you know, and what that's all about. This one, you know, I had some business on another continent back 10 years ago, back in Africa, actually. And during that, it was pretty much the whole summer off and on, and I was going all over Africa on that business. And my sidekick, basically, during that time that they hired as an investigator, has been a friend for life and everything. And lives a pretty dangerous life, actually. That kind of inspired this one. This isn't really about Dick, but it's kind of dedicated to Dick. I buy you a case of wine. I'll take one out and I'll give it to you. I know how to treat a friend. Dude, you're always at my side. I met you in East Berlin. As the Cold War raged, I knocked and you let me in. You laughed in the face of danger then. I can't picture you at 70. I remember what you did for me. That's why I'm here today. Can't knock my head around your passing. Just learned about it yesterday. I'll buy you a case of wine. I'll take one out and I'll give it to you. I know how to treat a friend. Dude, you were always at my side. Buy you a case of wine. One of the places I played for a couple of years, like one Saturday a month, even during the pandemic on the sidewalk, was Ghazali's restaurant down by Drake. And one of my good friends, MJ Ghazali, you know, owns that place. He became one of my good friends, especially when I was doing that. And one time, you know, MJ said, write a song about me, meaning him. And I'll tell you one thing about MJ Ghazali. When MJ Ghazali asks you to do something, you damn well better do it. So I wrote a song about MJ. I am Marwan from Beirut. My dad patrolled the streets. My mother raised their chefs beneath a single roof. One of them was me. I came out here from California 12 years ago. Now they're trying to squeeze me out of here. Marwan will never go. Marwan will never go. Marwan will never go. All those summers in the mountains of Rashaya, halfway round the globe, listen to the voice in my ear saying, strike out on your own. Wound up in the studio in Hollywood, reading for a role. Headed east, opened up a restaurant. Marwan will never go. Model One will never go. Model One will never go. I'm no stranger to rising above adversity. I learned that way back home. Now they're trying to squeeze me out of here. Model One will never go. Model One will never go. Model One will never go. You know, I keep saying Model One will never go, but he's gone now. Well, he's not. Doesn't have the restaurant by Drake. He opened a very nice restaurant out in Waukee after that, when he got driven out of the space next to the Varsity. And then put up a good fight. He was there for a couple of years, and then moved out and did something in Adele. And I think he's last I heard, he was traveling in Beirut. Went home, checking it out. He's also an actor. He's had some credits. He's done some movies and TV shows and stuff, but this song about him, because he told me to write a song about me, he said, and so I wrote this song. I'd rather be the fool making sweet mistakes. All the knowledge in the world at 3 a.m. be wide awake. I see people drowning in the deep end of the pool. I'd rather be the fool. I took a chance with you. I made a solid pitch. Though I had the roadmap in my hands, you said, "Nice try, pal," but that's not it. I think I saw the blueprints, but I didn't have the tools. I'd rather be the fool. Rather know that I took my shot, came in short, didn't lose a lot. Life is just a lesson that doesn't stop. When I try to be someone else's vision, that's a bad decision, to be something that you're not. I see people drowning in the deep end of the pool. I'd rather be the fool. 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 Another song that, and I could just write a lot of songs that I can, if I could finger pick, that I would finger pick. This is one I kind of like. I like them all. If I choose to memorize them and play them. There hasn't been a day in my life that something you said didn't settle right. My view of myself didn't go through a deep, hard slide. When I told me you were calling it quits, I thought, I got no chance of surviving this. I put up such a fight. Now you're back with your hat in your hand. Say you're here to give me another chance. You're surprised when I say I don't want to dance. First you're angry, then you're very sad. You say you're the best love that I'll ever have. Our turbulent romance. I don't know what you honestly mean, but have you seen me since last July? I took the guitar and left everything else outside. There are one or two things that I'll never forget, but I'm not quite painted in the corner yet. Just repositioning my life. Repositioning my life. At first I was crushed by the weight of it all, doing anything in life without you involved. Looking for a door through that huge brick wall. Then it dawned on me to head due south. Had it in me to just walk right out. Issues were resolved. I don't know what you honestly mean, but have you seen me since last July? I took the guitar and left everything else outside. There are one or two things that I'll never forget, but I'm not quite painted in the corner yet, just repositioning my life. Repositioning my life. The next time that I get to a place that I realize I'm staring at a stranger's face, I'll have you in mind. I don't know what you honestly mean, but have you seen me since last July? I took the guitar and left everything else outside. There are one or two things that I'll never forget, but I'm not quite painted in a corner yet, just repositioning my life. Repositioning my life. Repositioning my life. Repositioning my life. I'll tell you the story behind this guitar. You know, I was playing at Winterset at the farmer's market 2 weeks ago, and I wanted a nylon string guitar and everything. I was just going to buy a cheap one, a relatively cheap one. And then I've always wanted a Plummer, David Plummer guitar. David Plummer was a luthier, a guitar repair person, and a guitar builder from Des Moines. And he died relatively young, and a lot of famous guitar players around the world actually have his guitars, and they're very rare because he died, and he only made a few of them. And Jerry Reed, if you remember Jerry Reed, had David Plummer make him a nylon string guitar like this, and Warren Haynes has one, and there's a number of others that have David Plummer guitars and stuff. And my claim to fame up until now is my Les Paul electric guitar. When we first moved into our house on the south side back in 1999, we had water in the basement. We didn't know, it was a brand new house. We didn't know we were going to have water in the basement. And I had all my instruments down there. And my Les Paul, which I'd only paid $350 for, Gibson Les Paul, was ruined. And so I took it to Ye Old Guitar Shop, and they said, yeah, take it to David Plummer. And so I had him, and he had it for 2 years. He had it for 2 years, and he fixed it up. I mean, he essentially, I have the David Plummer custom Les Paul is what I've got. And I always wanted, but I can't prove it. So I wanted a Plummer guitar and everything, but they're so damn expensive because they're so rare. They're rare. So I was playing at the farmer's market in Winterset 2 weeks ago. It was a great day, and a guy comes up to me, starts talking to me. He's got some guitars, and he mentioned he had two Plummer guitars, and he's got this nylon string Plummer that he wants to get rid of, and he's willing to sell it for the price that he paid for it back in 1992, and it's got to be worth 4 or 5 times that. I said, well, don't do that. I mean, it's worth a fortune. He goes, no, I just want to get rid of it. So, I thought, well, I'll think about it. I kind of got the guy's name. I didn't get it down too well, but I got it. And I played the rest of my show, and I went to eat at the little Mexican place across from the square, and I'm sitting there eating my lunch thinking, what the hell was I thinking? I got to have that. I got to have that, because I have an account, a money account, which all the money from my criminal practice manual goes into this account, and it pays for everything with music, and it pays for my, the books that I publish, for the artwork that I put on the covers, and everything that goes in. And there was money in that account, and it was enough money, more than enough, to cover what he wanted for that Plummer guitar. So, but I didn't know where he lived or anything, so I did some research on my cell phone right there in the Mexican place, and what I thought his name was, and I found a site on Google where he had executed a legal document, and so and it had his address on it. He lived way out in the country, north of Winterset. So I went there. I used Google Maps. I showed up at the guy's house on Saturday afternoon saying, I will take that Plummer guitar. So now, not only do I have a nylon string guitar, but I have a Plummer nylon string guitar. And I stole it. I stole it, basically, for what I paid for it. And, and as you can see, I'm not a real good classical guitar player, not a good nylon string finger picker, but, this guitar plays itself. The neighbor's out for his morning walk. He does it every day at 10. Seems immersed in his deepest thoughts, how they eat away at him. I should step up and be his friend. He's so bitter from the past, I don't know what to ask. I'm not a diplomat. Tomorrow he'll walk by again. The neighbor's out for his morning walk. I'm so glad that I'm not him. Tomorrow he'll walk by again. Seems that I run into him every 6 or 7 weeks. He'd tell me something about the crazy twins, how the baby's on her feet, and how life is pretty sweet. But the bill came up to pay. It can happen in a day. Sometimes it seems that way. There's nothing helpful I can say. The neighbor's out for his morning walk. I'm just standing here perplexed, wondering what will happen next. Brightest smiles and a happy talk the day the neighbors first moved in. Tomorrow he'll walk by again. The neighbor's out for his morning walk. The neighbor's out for his morning walk. We all have neighbors. Another song about hot life in the Burns house. I do all the cooking now, you know. Making chili so my wife is on her deathbed. She'll get better when the chili is gone. I know she goes to Wendy's and she orders the chili there. It's her clandestine affair. I don't understand it. I'm using her recipe. She was always the first one in line. Then I take over and I get this disdainful glare. It's her clandestine affair. Everybody has a recipe. No one wants to share. It's her clandestine affair. I fix a bowl and I bring it to her deathbed. She says, no thank you, it's a little too bland. This is more than just chili, I'm well aware. It's her clandestine affair. Everybody has a recipe. No one wants to share. It's her clandestine affair. Everybody has a recipe. No one wants to share. It's her clandestine affair. Everybody has a recipe. No one wants to share. It's their clandestine affair. I'm making chili so my wife is on her deathbed. For about 10 years, I played music at the Uptown Bill's, or the Uptown Bill's coffee shop in Iowa City, based on it was the memory of Bill Sachter. If you've ever seen the movie Bill with Mickey Rooney, I met Bill once back when I was going to school there. And I used to play at the place quite a few times. And then the urban renewal in Iowa City is just out of hand. And a couple of years ago, I was watching on video as they were tearing down the mill. No, not the mill. They tear down the mill. That's another song I wrote at the same time. But they tore down Uptown Bill's. They tore down Uptown Bill's today. I was expecting it anyway. Still it hurts to see, even for me. I'd come to visit occasionally. It's just a place. What does that make me? They tore down Uptown Bill's today. Thinking once I saw Zolo play all the weekend tunes, Americana and blues. Sometimes I'd come in my dancing shoes. It's sad today. I just heard the news. You know, Sachter, he never set a foot in that place. You couldn't be there without seeing his face. Thank you, Jay. It's just a place. What does that make me? They tore down Uptown Bill's today. tore down Uptown Bill's today. I've got one more song, and that's it. I want to thank everybody who listened. There weren't a lot today, but I'll tell you one thing about these live streams. Well, a lot of people will watch them later in the week. I don't know how much they watch, but I get most of my statistics later in the week. So, but I thank everybody who listened today. I always close with the same song. And this is not on my nylon string guitar. This is just on my regular Martin guitar, because it's a song about playing a Martin guitar. And basically, nothing this weekend. Next weekend, I've got the Iowa Independent Books, the Independent Book Fair Expo in Valley Junction. I'm doing that from noon to 5 next Saturday. Then the week after, then I'm back doing farmers markets. I've got Carlisle. Got a bunch of them in July, a bunch of them in August, a bunch of them in September. I'm just in hibernation all winter, and then I come out and do farmers markets all summer. I've got the fair on the 14th, and playing into September. In October, I've got the Des Moines Farmers Market in Carlisle. In November, I'm assuming they'll be doing Art on the Prairie in Perry again. So, but I'll be doing this every week. I don't have any Tuesday gigs lined up yet, so unless I do, I'll be doing this every Tuesday. So thank you for listening. I've been doing this for all of my life. It's the one thing I know, and it's brought me to a few hidden corners of the globe. Now I'm sailing into that stage in life, started taking it slow, but I still dream the dream that I'll ever let it go. I will play where I can play, some dark corner or a stage. I've got something for whatever you can pay. I'm not a complicated man. All I'm asking is to stand here if you let me have an hour with this Martin in my hands. With this Martin in my hand. On a little bench on 2nd and Grand sits a man with a horn. He's been playing there since almost the year I was born. And it used to be a joke with my friend, I would wind up like him. Now I see him and I realize how lucky he's been. I will play where I can play, some dark corner or a stage. I've got something for whatever you can pay. I'm not a complicated man. All I'm asking is to stand here if you let me have an hour with this Martin in my hands. With this Martin in my hands. It's not the best thing for my health. I'm not acquiring great wealth. I go on because I owe it to myself. I'm not reaching for the stars. Things will stay the way they are. I keep plugging, though I may never get that far. I will play where I can play, some dark corner or a stage. I've got something for whatever you can pay. I'm not a complicated man. All I'm asking is to stand here if you let me have an hour with this Martin in my hands. With this Martin in my hands, I will play where I can play, some dark corner or a stage. I've got something for whatever you can pay. I'm not a complicated man. All I'm asking is to stand here if you let me have an hour with this Martin in my hands. Thank you very much, Krister. With this Martin in my hands. We got to talk sometime. I appreciate you watching. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's been a long time, actually.